Well, I want to talk about gluten intolerance today. Gluten intolerance has gone up 400% over the last 50 years, according to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Very famous Mayo Clinic said gluten intolerance has gone up 400% in the last 50 years. And that's because everybody's making this rush to eat whole grains, and at the same time, everybody's telling you to get off of salt. Now, salt is the raw material to make stomach acid, and the chief cells in your stomach take the sodium chloride, make hydrochloric acid, and the pepsin, the enzyme in your stomach that's produced to digest proteins, including wheat, barley, rye, and oat proteins, does not work in a pH above 1.5. It's got to be like battery acid in your stomach for that enzyme to work. Well, when you get all this undigested wheat, barley, rye, and oat protein, these glutens coming through the blood, being absorbed into the bloodstream, your body sets up an intolerance to it, not an allergy. You can test for allergies and you'll be normal. For instance, everybody in America does not have, I can guarantee you nobody in America, let's go that way, has an allergy to poison ivy, but I guarantee everybody in America is intolerant to poison ivy because the chemicals produced by the juices and the leaves and the sap and the poison ivy are very, very toxic in contact. You get contact dermatitis in the skin. If you're going to eat poison ivy for a salad, you get contact enteritis, which is a really messy inflammation of the intestines. Well, when you have a gluten intolerance, not a gluten allergy, a gluten intolerance, you can be negative for wheat, barley, rye, and oat allergies, but if you have a gluten intolerance, your intestines are going to look like you've been eating poison ivy for salads. You're going to get ulcerations, you're going to lose the villi, you're going to have bleeding and blood clots and all kinds of a mess. And so over time, you get a progressive loss of the ability to absorb, a decreased efficiency of absorption. As a result, you get all these nutritional deficiencies. And before I forget, I want you to contact your FDI Longevity Associate and get the CD called Serial Killers. It's spelled Cerial. It's a combination of serial killers, like people who kill a lot of people, and cereals that kill people. Okay, so Serial Killers, Cerial, Killers. It goes into the history of gluten intolerance and how it works, what it does to you, and how to reverse it. Well, basically, you reverse it by getting on a gluten-free diet. And because there's so many people who are now gluten intolerant that you can go into any grocery store now, any grocery store. You don't have to go to a health food store. You go to any grocery store online. There's some stores that just sell exclusively gluten-free foods. You're going to find gluten-free foods. There's gluten-free recipes in recipe books in every bookstore in the land. Okay, I mean it's a crime what's going on here with this gluten intolerance. Well, we run into people all the time who've gone to 14 specialists. They're on 27 prescription drugs, all for legitimately diagnosed diseases, which are all nutritional deficiency diseases because they can't absorb any nutrients, even with supplementation, because of these negative changes in their intestines. So, for instance, one of the more common things you get when you have a gluten intolerance, and this is diagnosed as celiac disease, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, diverticulitis, appendicitis. You can get ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. All these are common manifestations of gluten intolerance, and it shows up in the skin in very young babies as eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis. It'll show up as eczema, also as asthma, and then you start getting fibromyalgia, you get growing pains, you get every kind of disease you can think of. People lose their hair, they lose their hair color, and of course it's contributed to when you have deficiencies in the nutrients, because what's 10% of nothing? Not much, okay? So we have a huge problem here in America, another physician-caused disease. I guess there are certain people who really don't know what they're doing, who think of themselves as pretty good nutritional consultants, telling everybody to eat lots of whole grains, and they tell them to give up salt and all this kind of stuff. They're giving them gluten intolerance. So you get on a gluten-free diet. It takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks to see a recognizable benefit in absorption. Symptoms begin to disappear or abate. And you go back to the hippie days. Some of the baby boomers remember this, the macrobiotic diet. There was no magic in the brown rice. It was also called the brown rice diet because the hippies would get on the macrobiotic diet with brown rice and raw vegetables and all this kind of stuff. Originally, in the 1700s, it was meant to be a 2-week fast, but hippies adapted it to a full-time diet, macrobiotic diet. Well, it didn't work because of the magic of brown rice. It worked because you gave up wheat, barley, rye, and oats, the brown rice and grains. So this actually is the basis of a lot of terrible diseases that are plaguing Americans and other people in the industrialized world. we're told that these grains are good and actually they're bad. They're found in funny things. You find wheat as a thickener in tomato soup and gravy. You find breadcrumbs in meatloaf. You'll find wheat, barley, rye, and oats in beer, scotch, and bourbon. And you'll find wheat, barley, rye, oats also in things like soy sauce, A1 steak sauce, all these various salad dressings. There's wheat that's used as filler in processed meats. Sausage, bologna, salami, pepperoni, pastrami, all those kind of sauce, summer sausage, all these kind of sausage-like meats. They use wheat as filler because it's cheaper. All right? You have to watch it. There's wheat in everything. Get on a gluten-free diet. Get the CD Serial Killers, and get the trilogy books, Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, and Passport Aromatherapy, and get the book Hell's Kitchen, and learn everything that's necessary about gluten intolerance and how you can protect yourself and people you love. We'll be back with more truth, justice, and the FBI longevity way on Dead Doctors Don't Lie for these myths. Okay, Doug, what pearls of wisdom do you have for us today?
Well, this is one of these ones that pretty well vindicates you. Now, I found this article on a source called Natural News, and they're all kind of about what we're about as far as treating disease and health challenges through nutritional supplementation and just, not using drugs and surgeries and all this kind of stuff. And this particular article was written by Mike Adams, the Natural News editor. And what he's discussing here is a film that they're releasing through Natural News, and it's a film by Valya Muntenko. And what it is a documentary about 37 people that reversed so-called incurable disease by unleashing the innate healing powers of the human body, which, of course, in the article they say flies in the face of conventional medical wisdom. These people share their stories, how they suffered from these, quote, incurable chronic diseases like fibromyalgia, psoriasis, diabetes, colitis, edema, also things like IBS, eczema, high blood pressure. And all of these people were able to do this. They reversed these chronic diseases by using simple methods of nutrition and using what they're calling living foods. And they say it's you can actually get this online on the Natural News website, but they're actually trying to sell this movie is what this whole thing's all about. But I thought it interesting that it is exactly what you've been discussing for a number of years. They say healing miracles from the USA, Canada, Australia, Thailand, and more, documented healing testimonials from people across the world, and opened their eyes to the truth that drugs and surgery medical industry refuses to acknowledge, lifted the veil of the pharmaceutical delusion, and come to discover that your body wants to heal itself. All it needs is, quote, the right ingredients, which is what you talk about all the time, not these patented synthetic chemicals. They say conventional medical doctors don't know this information. The government's health agencies like FDA, CDC, HHS, they refuse to acknowledge the fundamental truths that are revealed here. They say the whole new world of healing truth that the, quote, establishment absolutely does not want you to know about. Why? Because it sets you free from the slave of the medical system. And so later on in the article, they say no one else in the world is doing this, so obviously they haven't heard about us. But I think we've probably been around talking about this long before Natural News was even an item. So, but yeah, you've been vindicated again.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
I'm glad somebody else is kind of running the same battle.
Yeah, it really is.
If nothing else, they'll run interference for us and distract some of the bad guys.
Yeah, because the thing is that like you've been on this mission for about 40 years to try and educate people that a lot of the common diseases that people suffer with were in the livestock industry 40, 50 years ago, and you can't put 1,000 herd of cattle on a healthcare plan or give them all some statin drug or something. Beef would cost $9,000 a pound at that point, and so it's good that somebody else is out there getting the word out. But once again, I think you're sort of the I don't know what you'd call it, sort of like the lead guy, because you've been doing it for so long.
Well, thank you. Certainly we've been doing it a long time. I actually started in 1973. So what is that? That's
nearly
27?
Nearly 40 years.
Yeah, just about 40 years.
Yeah.
And 39 years, yeah. And so it's one of those things where the truth is always the truth. Gravity is always gravity. The Earth has always been round. The sun always was stationary. The Earth always rotated around the sun, but everybody got it wrong in the beginning, and so I'm not too surprised. And we got some startling stuff. Even mad cow disease is a nutritional deficiency. It's not caused by a prion. I mean, we figured that out. So it'll be 25 years before the experts figure it out. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Black Mountain, North Carolina. And Teresa, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Teresa, you're on the air.
Hey, Dr. Wallach, thank you for taking my call. I wanted to call and give you an update on my mother.
Okay.
And she was with atrial fib. That was her main problem. She had several issues, but she has been on the product, at least 2 full weeks now, going on 3. And she says her hips and knees are better. And she has also stopped 2 of her medicines. She was on a stomach medicine and Aricept.
Okay, yeah, Aricept's for memory.
Uh-huh.
And she got a little more memory back?
Yeah, yep. She feels that she's doing well.
Okay, good. So anything going on with her heart now? So her knees are better, her memory is better.
And her hips. I did fail to mention last time I talked to you that she is on Coumadin, and she would like to come off of the Coumadin.
Okay, how often does she get her blood tested for the blood clotting time?
Okay, she was once a month. Her INR was 1.8, and the target INR was 2.5. So they increased one of the days for her Coumadin.
So they increased her Coumadin.
Say that again?
They increased her Coumadin.
They did.
Okay.
On one of the days where she takes a half, they have her now taking a whole one.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Just keep going the way you're going, because she's obviously absorbing. She's seeing benefit. And the next time she goes in, give me a call. Let me know what the next number is, okay?
Okay, so just keep on keeping on then.
Oh, yeah. Very good. And so if people have dementia, they see a response in 2 weeks from this program, the 90 Essentials plus the other nutrients, and they see a significant response in just a couple of weeks. That means that they don't have Alzheimer's disease. They have what's called Korsakoff syndrome, which I've seen go away in 2 weeks to 4 weeks. And so it's an amazing thing. Medical doctors don't know about Korsakoff syndrome. It looks exactly like Alzheimer's. It's a simple vitamin deficiency. You give up sugar and all the bad stuff. It's an amazing thing. And I really appreciate you, Teresa, for calling back. A lot of people, I ask them to do that, and they don't. And, of course, it's good for the listeners to hear that, by golly, somebody did what they were told, and they're seeing improvement. So, yeah, just keep on keeping on to this point. Just make sure she stays away from the bad stuff. It's rather seductive when people get to feeling good to begin to say, well, maybe I don't need as much of this vitamins and minerals. Maybe I could eat a little bit of the bad stuff. And so you need to kind of keep her on track, okay?
Okay.
Okay, dear, let me hear from you the next time she gets some numbers. You're welcome to call anytime, but don't wait longer than that. We'll be back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie and more truth in the FDI Longevity Way after these messages.
Let's head to Salisbury, Maryland, and Sandra, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Sandra, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
I'm calling about my husband. He's 31 years old. He's a diabetic, and he has gastroparesis, renal failure, hypertension, and that's about it.
Okay, well, that's about it. How he has diabetes, hypertension. I missed, there's one in the middle there.
Diabetes, gastroparesis, renal failure.
Oh, renal, there you go, renal failure. Okay.
So right now, as we speak.
Is he producing any urine at all?
Yes, he still produces urine.
Okay, how much does he weigh?
350.
Okay, and how tall is he?
6 foot.
6 foot, okay. Well, yeah, I'd like to see him lose 150 pounds. We can do that safely over a period of, say, a year and a half, okay? And basically, it's going to go like this. I'm going to give you the ideal here, and if you have to cut it by a third or something like that, I wouldn't cut it by a half. But if you need to for financial reasons, it's going to take longer to get a result. But I'm going to give you the optimal levels based on body weight, okay? So I want him to have 3 healthy start packs per month. 3 healthy start packs per month. That is one full dose of each of the three products at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's 1 ounce of the OsteoFX Plus at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That'll require 3 Healthy Start packs per month. Now, I want him to also have 9 Sweeties a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. That's 3 bottles a month of the Sweeties. And I want him to take his fasting blood sugar every morning before he medicates himself, whether it's insulin or pills. Okay? Now, is it type 2 diabetes or type 1?
Insulin. Which one is the insulin? Depending.
Well, you have insulin for both. When was he diagnosed? How old was he diagnosed?
16.
Okay, well, he might have type 1. Okay, when he was 16 years old. It's possible type 1 or type 2. Either one can be diagnosed at age 16. He may be on insulin forever. We're going to help him lose weight. We're going to help him reduce the number of times he has to check his blood sugar, but I want him to check his blood sugar every morning 2 or 3 times a day before he medicates himself. We don't want to throw him into insulin shock, right? So hang on, we'll be back. Got to run to one of those message moments here. We'll be back with more Truth, Justice, and the FDI Longevity Way after these messages. Doug, let's go right back to Maryland and Sandra. Okay, so we got the 3 Healthy Start packs per month, 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 3 of the Sweeties 3 times a day. That's 3 bottles a month. Be sure he tests his blood sugar before he medicates himself each time. And then, let's see, I would like him to get rid of all the sugar out of his life. No sugar, no fried foods, no exceptions, no processed meats with nitrates, nitrites. Number 1, they contain an enormous amount of sugar in them. And they also have a lot of wheat in them, a lot of carbohydrates as filler. Now, let me ask you a quick question here. Sandra, does your husband have any history of skin problems like eczema, dermatitis, or psoriasis?
No.
Does he have any history of chronic bronchitis or asthma?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Let's see here. Next, let's see. Because he has renal failure, I want him to have what we call Ultimate Daily Tablets. The Ultimate Daily Tablets, I'd like him to have 12 a day. He needs to have 4 at breakfast, 4 at lunch, 4 at dinner. That'll be 3 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily Tablets. Okay? And this is to support and promote healthy blood flow through blocked arteries and support and promote healthy blood pressure. And when you have renal failure, there's usually nothing wrong with your kidneys. Primarily what happens is the small arteries carrying dirty blood into the filtering units get plugged, and the Ultimate Daily Tablets are designed to support and promote healthy blood flow even through blocked arteries and support and promote healthy blood pressure. So that's going to support healthy blood pressure. That's going to support healthy blood flow through the little afferent arteries in the kidneys, which can result in more urine production, more kidney function. And that's it. I think we've covered just about everything there, but it wouldn't hurt for him also to have, does he have any back problems or knee problems, joint problems, any arthritis?
He has back problems. He complains about his back all the time.
Okay. Well, let's go to our glucogel. I'd have him take 20 glucogel capsules a day. That's going to require 3 of the 240-count bottles per month of the glucogel capsules, and they're designed to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, very important here, bone matrix and bone itself. There's 5 at breakfast, 5 at lunch, 5 at dinner, and 5 at bedtime. This is going to require 3 bottles a month of the 2 large 240-count bottles of glucogel. And as he loses weight, which he will, portion control is going to be easy. Portion control is going to be easy because as he takes in this much mineral, his cravings for food, his desire to snack will go way down. And so if you both work on portion control, his weight loss will occur more rapidly. And I say again, we can help him lose 150 pounds over a, say, 1-year period, year and a half period very safely. And so we're looking for great things. He could be one of our poster boys here. But if he is a type 1 diabetic, since he was diagnosed, he might be. And so I would suspect that he will never be able to give up insulin totally. But if we can reduce the amount of insulin he takes and the number of times a day he has to test his blood sugar, his quality of life will go way up. Give me a call every 2 weeks. I want to know his weight. I want to know his blood pressure. I want to know his blood sugar levels. If you ever get an A1C hemoglobin, I think there's actually kits you can buy at the drugstore and do it yourself. Or if a doctor does it, give me a call and let me know. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Cave Junction, Oregon. And Stacy, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Stacy, you're on the air.
Hello, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
First of all, I want to say that I am Buck Steffen's personal assistant, and all of us in FDI Longevity know how you personally helped him keep his foot from being amputated. So for that, I say thank you.
Well, thank you for introducing yourself. Good to talk to you. How can I help you today?
Well, I'm calling about my nephew, Brian. He is 32 years old. He's had tonic-clonic idiopathic epilepsy seizures since he was 14. He has severe hand tremors. He actually had a grand mal seizure last night and believes he had a partial stroke as well. Mm-hmm. Now, he takes 800 milligrams of Dilantin daily, 400 milligrams in the morning and 100 milligrams at night. He's still having severe breakthrough seizures. He's becoming a recluse. He can't work or drive. At age 32, I just see his life just slipping away and out of control.
Okay, well, let's see if we can help him. And what does he weigh?
He weighs 210 pounds. He's 6'2".
Okay. Does he have any other issues? Diabetes, high blood pressure?
No.
Any arthritis?
Nope.
Any history of skin problems, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis?
No.
Any history of, asthma, chronic bronchitis?
No.
Okay. Any history of constipation or diarrhea?
None that I know of.
Okay.
Don't know that he would tell me.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what we need to do. This goes by body weight. Number one, he's got to get rid of all the bad stuff. All the bad stuff for him would be fried foods. I mean, nothing fried, no exceptions. No oils, no exceptions. That means absolutely no margarines, mayonnaise, salad dressings, cooking oils. If you eat canned fish, that's fine, but they got to be packed in water, not oil. No carbonated drinks during meals. No carbonated drinks during meals. And let's start with that as the bad stuff. And so we'll start there. But then I want him to have 2 healthy start packs per month. 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at breakfast and dinner. That'll be accomplished by the 2 healthy start packs per month. I want him to get an extra bottle of what we call Smart FX, extra 2 bottles of Smart FX, because I want him to add 3 of the Smart FX capsules at breakfast and dinner. So he can wind up with 6 of the EFA Pluses a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner. That's from the 2 healthy start packs. And then 3 of the Smart FX twice a day. That's going to be from 2 bottles of Smart FX. Then I want him to have the D-Stress capsules, capital D dash and the word stress, 3 of those 3 times a day. That will be 3 bottles a month of the D-Stress capsules. And let's see here. Seizures, tremors. Oh, he needs to eat, at his body weight, I want him to eat 10 to 12 eggs a day. They cannot be fried. They have to be either 1-minute poached eggs or 1-minute soft boiled eggs, or they can be soft scrambled in butter at very low temperatures. If they're browned, you can't eat them. You have to eat them with a spoon. If you can eat them with a fork, they're too hard, because you got to preserve the yolks, because we need the material in the yolk to rebuild the brain. And let's get his ORAC points, his antioxidant points, above 100,000. This would require use of the Cell Shield RTQ. Each 2 capsules gives you 15,800 ORAC points. It'd be 8 of those a day. And our triple treat or triple truffle chocolate, 2 of those will give you 33,000 ORAC points. So 6 of those a day would give him 99,000 ORAC points. The 2 healthy start packs give him 11,000 ORAC points, and then 8 of the Cell Shield RTQ will actually give him about 80,000 ORAC points. So that would any of those combinations will get him over that 100,000 ORAC points per day. And then I'm assuming he was not diagnosed with MS or Lou Gehrig's disease or anything, Parkinson's disease, anything else like that, right?
No, I have MS, but he doesn't.
Okay, well, you can do exactly the same thing, but you need to add some selenium to your issue. Take the selenium. I'd go ahead and take. What do you weigh?
Boy, I'm going to tell the world. I weigh 200 pounds. I'm 5'7". Okay. I've been on your Healthy Start Pack, the Pollen Burst, and the Probacillus Plus pack.
Okay, that's all good. But I'd also take your selenium, I want you to take 9 selenium a day, 3 at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. None of the bad stuff, no fried foods, no oils, no processed meats or nitrates and nitrites. I would take the de-stress capsules, 3 of those 3 times a day. And don't forget the 10 to 12 eggs a day. Very important, rebuilding the myelin of the brain. When you have MS, you have a disease of the myelin of the brain. It is repairable, but you got to go for it. And let me hear from you all the time, Stacy. I'm sure we'll see each other down in Orlando. Look forward to seeing you and Buck. We'll be back after these messages. Back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for FDI Longevity and the 90 for Life Crusade. And Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Austin, Texas. And Chris, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hey, Chris, you're on the air.
Hey, Dr. Wallach, this is Chris. How you doing? We talked a couple of times.
How can I help you?
I got a preface before my 2 questions. I know I was listening to the intro, and Doug was talking about the video or the story about the natural cures.
Uh-huh.
There needs to be a little kind of thing with that. It actually promotes the vegan lifestyle, and I understand that veganism can cure a lot of things for the short term, but you cannot sustain a vegan lifestyle unless you supplement. I think a lot of vegans don't seem to understand that. That's the only thing I have a problem with that video.
Yeah, that's why they're dead. I deal a lot with vegans who do supplement. Some of them have been with me for 25 years. They're perfectly healthy. They are vegans. I mean, they are dyed-in-the-wool vegans, and they pick our products that are totally vegan products, no animal products in it. We do have the ability to do that, and thank you for bringing that up. They are, in fact, and thank you for pointing that out about that video. It's certainly unsupplemented veganism or unsupplemented vegetarianism or unsupplemented carnivores don't make it. But I have to tell you that the top 20 longevity cultures on Earth all eat meat. They eat pork, they eat beef, they eat goat, chickens, snakes, fish. And so there's not a single one of the top 20 long-lived cultures on Earth that are vegans. Okay, so second question or comment.
Okay, I actually have 2 questions. If you could actually talk about the China study one time, I'd really appreciate it if you could dissect that, please. Also, actually, my 2 questions are...
Okay, well, I only got minutes left, so let me do that, and then you can call me tomorrow for your second question. The China study was actually done by a vegan. So obviously this dude had an agenda, and I don't know if he ever even went to China because he's saying that everybody in China is a vegetarian. That's absolutely not true. My wife is Chinese, and I go to China quite a bit, a couple of times a year. Been doing that for 25 years. And the Chinese eat more meat than anybody else. The only people who might be vegans are a couple of monks living up in the mountains somewhere, or visitors from the United States or England might be vegans who go there, but there's very few. Not more. You can probably count all the vegans in China, 1.8 billion people. You can count the vegans on your 2 hands. When this guy said everybody eats mostly vegetables, he's either a pathological liar or he never went there. Because if you want to be really seeing what Chinese eat, you need to go to their street markets, and all you see is chickens and turkeys and ducks and goats and sheep and dogs and cats and snakes and cattle. They have every kind of critter you can think of, fish and every kind of shellfish and shrimp and crabs and turtles, cats. I mean, they eat everything. Wild birds, you name it, they eat it. Snails, worms, anything that's made out of meat, they will eat. And so anybody who says the Chinese are mostly vegetarians has never been there or they're lying and have an agenda. So I would differ with the author of the China study, and I believe that he's just pushing his vegan agenda, hoping that the China study, that might convince people that it's the right thing to do. But I think he failed. Again, all the long-lived people on Earth, the top 20 cultures, are all meat eaters. There's not a single vegan bunch in the bunch. Okay, we might have time. Let's try squeezing another one in here, but I think it'll be tough.
Okay. Actually, salt. I understand salt's used for hydrochloric acid production.
Yep.
Why was salt indicated in high blood pressure studies? And is there any health problems with eating too much salt?
Okay, if you eat too much salt, you don't drink water, you can dehydrate yourself, but you can kill yourself by drinking too much water. Okay, so too much of anything will get you. Just salt your food to taste. Salt is implicated because doctors don't understand the process of bodies using salt. They believe if you dehydrate yourself, you can lower blood pressure. Salt is required to move water around your body. It's required for nerve impulses. It's required for stomach acid. And when they talk about salt increasing your risk of cancer, causing high blood pressure, they count 80% of their salt intake comes from processed meats with nitrates and nitrites, not just table salt. They're talking about processed meats with nitrates and nitrites. The nitrates and nitrites that are bad, not the salt. You know, God said, go forth and be a salt of the earth. I'm going to go with the God thing, not the doctor thing. Well, thank you, everybody. Really great testimonies and questions today. Thank you so much, Doug. Superlative job as usual. Doug and Susan, superlative job as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs again. And God bless America.